get there.
I've heard that you can't, when it is snowing, you can't land the plane. They can't land the plane.
Mhm. Yep.
Wow.
How
Wow.
lucky were we?
We were
So
so lucky.
lucky. We had the
Okay.
best time. It was great. Okay.
I'm,
We've got people coming in. Perfect.
I'm
Okay.
also going to make you oh, can you let people in now?
I'm doing it.
Okay. All right. Oh, perfect. I was too. All right. I can't make it live stream, so I'm just going to record and then we'll have John upload it. So no worries there.
Perfect.
And I don't know why, but anyways, okay, moving on. So I hope you do have like a pen paper. I've got my notes in front of me. This is all coming from two sources. So bookworms. This is coming from Traction, which is kind of the EOS framework for your business, entrepreneurial operating system. It's also coming from a book called BE 2.0. And that's a really good read if you are in our world and you have not read those two books. I would really suggest it. BE 2.0 is fantastic. I would definitely encourage you to add that to your list this year. But we've been talking, I feel like I've talked to a lot of people lately about like this reactive desire to just burn things down. And I'm using that phrase because I've heard that phrase multiple times and like from some of you on this call. Literally burn it down. Like you're just done, you're burnout, it's trash, hot garbage. And then that sneaky thing of like, let's just do everything different and start over. That like little dopamine buzz of like what I'm doing is not exciting anymore. It's not working for me. Let's burn it down. Let's start something new. And what we know is that like you cannot be successful as an entrepreneur if you are hitting that turn every couple of years and then giving into that feeling. So what I want to talk about today is how do you kind of bulletproof the long-term vision? How many of you on this call would say, I'd like to be out of real estate and never touch it again in 6 months? No, sorry, Allison, put your hand down. Nobody,
Oh,
nobody. Jeremy, put your hands down. I meant not still making income from real estate. Okay, let me preface that. I mean like you're out because you're out of business. Like no one on this call is gonna be like, yeah, I'd really like to be out of business in 3 years. Leveraged out of your day-to-day business? Absolutely. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about out of business. It's kind of the same thing here. Is like most of us want to have flourishing businesses with longevity 10 years down the road from today. How many of you have spent time when you should have been present with your family or doing something fun and you were making the sacrifices to be present in your real estate business at really hard moments? Gwenny and I talked about this last week, and I don't think she'll care if I share it. When we get into the whys of why do we need the longevity in our business, because a lot of us have sacrificed a lot to get a business that is as robust as it is today. And you don't want to feel like that was for nothing because it takes, if you're here and you have a thriving real estate business, we know you've sacrificed. What we want to avoid is the burnout around that, so that you can keep going. And the way that you bulletproof that is you have a long-term vision for your business. And the agents that are on teams, this is not like if you have a team, this is for your individual 1099 contract business. So I just want to go through all the components and be sure that we have all these pieces of the puzzle because when you have those days that you say, burn it down, I'm done. This is going to help fix it. So we're going to go through the 8 elements of our VTO, which that comes directly from Traction. And the first one of these things that we're going to look at is going to be your core values. How many of you have core values in your business?
well, we haven't been on our team.
You have them on your team. Do you have them for your individual business as well?
No, I don't.
Anybody, any solo agents on here have core values? Interactive session.
I mean, you have your ethical standards that you go by,
Sure.
and your core values as a human being, I guess, of like how you deal with people. But I
Hmm.
don't have it written down. I should.
Great. So let's start right there because I think this is the most important thing. When we talk about agents, and we have a couple agents in our orbit right now that are starting teams, and they're like, "What do I do? Who do I attract? What do I have conversations around?" Think about it this way. The core values kind of make up the boat that keep you rowing downstream, right? So it's actually literally like when you talk about we build a plane in the air, like I always thought about our core values as being our boat. They should be observational behaviors, like literally things that you can see in your business. What we often do is this. We just throw a bunch of words together and say, these are my core values. And like all the time, they sound like this. honesty, integrity. Like you could, they're the itties, right? ITYs. Every single thing ends in ITY. And it's just because someone went and grabbed a couple of words that they thought would look cool on like 3 or 4 poster boards in their office. And then they throw them up there, they collect dust and they never touch them. So what you know about your business is that you already have the core values that you need. What we need to do though is we need to highlight them and start making them part of our business practice. This is hard to do when you're reflecting on yourself. So I encourage you to really try to get together in groups of people that know you and say, hey, what are the observable behaviors that you see in my business? What are things that if you took all the good stuff out of me, right? All the good things that I do, and you put them all together, what that to make a superhuman or a super real estate agent, what would that look like? So I want you guys to take just 2 seconds on your sheets of paper, and I want you to write down 5, 6, 7 words that you feel like are not something you want to be. That's what we miss. Like these are not aspirational words of something we want people to think about us. I want you to think about what's in you already right now that makes you a really great real estate agent. And I would love for some people to put these words in the chat so that I can read them out because it's interesting to me to hear. 5 or 6 words.
Dedicated.
Not that you want to be, not that you're like, man, that girl's like this and I want to be like that. I mean, what is already in you that makes you a great real estate agent? Some of you, it might be you're gritty. Melissa just said giving. Attention to details. Some of you are highly communicative, some of you are not. Compassionate, tenacious, authentic, good, genuine, hard worker, connection, problem solver. That's a good one. So the rough draft of this is, again, you're pulling out all of these words that you know are already inside of you. You don't need to go figure out how to be these things, right?
Hey.
And watch some of those words that are overly vague, right? I don't know who's saying good morning, but that was the sweetest little sound I've ever. It was so sweet. I wish people said good morning to me like that. I don't know who it is though. Magnetic. I love these. What you're gonna do is get these words onto paper. Then I want to challenge you to get with another person that works with you at a close level. So I think a mortgage lender might be a really good example of this. Maybe someone on your team, an attorney partner, someone that knows you maybe from outside of real estate, a client that you've worked with. And I want you to ask if they would send over 4 or 5 words. We've all been in a training somewhere, right? And I'm not asking you to do this, where you text somebody that you worked with and be like, I'm working on my branding. Can you send me a sentence about myself? This is not that exercise. I'm not asking for that. This is not a ploy to have a conversation with someone. You just genuinely need to understand how you're perceived in the workspace. And then we need to literally go in. I want you to go through ChatGPT and I want you to start getting some synonyms. Man, I'm really having a hard time talking today. Synonyms on these words. For those of you that missed elementary school English, that's words that mean the same thing, right? But have different words. So I want you to go in and I want you to find those words. And then I want you to start to narrow this down. I want you to grow this list from the 5 starting points you have, maybe to 20, 25, 30 words. And then I want you to start going through and finding where are the things that keep showing up. Because just like I said with these synonyms, you can say, oh, I'm experienced. I'm trying to find 2 that are the same. Relentless and tenacious, right? Those might be kind of similar, right? And so then really breaking down, understanding the word, and then trying to find where are the commonalities. My goal always, our team has 7 of these, which is the absolute maximum that any organization should have. These work best when they're simplified. So what you're looking for here is you want 3 or 4 words that really, really define your business. And what makes these very, very powerful is these are not going to be just inspirational words to make you feel better. These words are going to start making you make your decisions a lot faster with a lot less emotional drag. Okay. So when we look at this, we we very much know our core values. When we have agents that want to join us on the team, we know what core values that we're looking for. We know that we hire, we fire, we reward, we do everything against these core values. To me, they're the ultimate function in our business, multi-valued function, because we use them as our HR department. That's what these words start to become. These are the words that you want to align your business with. And if you start to feel like and agents, like you start looking at clientele, you start looking at vendor partners, and you start figuring out, hey, I'm working with some folks that are not really in alignment with who I am. It's going to be a lot easier to shed that. Now we're not making emotional reactive decisions on, I don't like this, or I don't think this person is someone I want to gel with. Now you can say, hey, look, this person's just not in alignment with our core values. No problem, no issue, right? You just have clarity on who you are. This is the most important thing, I think, of the VTO, which is the vision tracker organization. Like, this is the most important piece. You have to know who you are. And what we miss sometimes is we think we know what we're supposed to be, and you miss who you actually already are. And for many of you on this call, you already have successful real estate businesses, which tells me who you are is working. This stops the burnout from trying to go reinvent or do something different or mimic something you're seeing on social media, right? Or just completely go off the handle and say, I'm blowing it all up because I don't know who I am. You want to grow, whether that's you want to grow a team, you want to grow a downline, you want to grow more clientele, you have to know who you are, and then you have to get really good at communicating who you are. You are core values. You are your core values. Does that make sense to everybody? Any ahas here on the core values? Because this is a much deeper conversation around core values than I feel like we get a lot of times in very basic business planning.
I think there's been a lot of conversation around the word authenticity, and I think it's starting to turn into like a little bit of like a clicky word, right? And somebody I was talking to yesterday, we kind of had this aha moment that was like, what if we start like interchanging that word with like identity, right? And not just like, I want to be authentic to myself, but like, what is our identity? And I think when you start looking at the core values, it's, yeah, you want to be authentic to yourself, but I think we have to get very clear and ask ourselves these questions, like, what is our identity and what are we? Who are we and what do we have to offer? And then how do we stay true to that through our business practices? Does that make
100%, 100%. And here's the compounding effect to this. You know, the number one reason, because I wouldn't say that there's anyone on this call that doesn't have a desire to grow more influence. Guys, we take market share by growing influence. We grow bigger businesses by growing influence, right? I didn't say influencer for some of you on this call. I said influence, right? And one thing I will say about influence is it comes when there is, or it fails when there's incongruencies. So the core values solve this, because here's the problem. If I have a very confident speaking voice, but I'm standing on stage with my arms crossed and like playing at my shirt, immediately you're like, there's something wrong with this woman because my voice has the power and the confidence, but my body language is telling you I have a problem. And it's vice versa. If I have a really mousy voice, but I'm using these really big, exciting gestures, you might think there's something wrong with that woman, because what your eyes and what your ears are taking in at the same time are not congruent. This is what happens when we try to show up places as people that we're not. People know it right away. And I think that this is the number one thing that leads to burnout. Why are you showing up the way you're showing up? Because maybe you saw someone on social media and you were like, well, they're selling a lot of houses. This is what I need to look like. But if it's not who you are, your audience will read it very, very quickly. And in fact, instead of growing any influence, you're actually departing the influence station, because now you've got an incongruency that's very, very easy to spot. Take that one step deeper. Let's say you really try to mentally kind of take yourself there. I am like this. This is what I believe. This is who I am. I am this kind of person. And you're not. You're going to lose influence on yourself. And this is where I think we have huge misses in real estate. I think it's very great. I think it's amazing to go online and be able to look at other people's brands the way that we can and really immerse. And this is exactly what Allison's saying about this identity, the authenticity. It's amazing. but we cannot just go in and mimic. And what will keep you, I think, from feeling like every time you see something that looks successful of I'm going to go mimic that is you understand your core values. You understand who you are. And then as you start to grow a bigger and bigger business, this becomes important because now you need people to be on the same boat as you when it comes to these are the core values that matter. Does that make sense on core values? Perfect. All right, I want to move on to the second piece, which is the core focus. This is for a lot of people. How many of you have a vision statement in your business? Anyone have a vision statement? Ours is to be a beacon in the community by putting people first. Anybody else have a vision statement, a tag like that?
Janet, I feel like you worked on something with yours. Do you have something?
Anna, can you repeat that?
It's like a vision statement is usually what it's presented as in the business planning world. Like, what's your vision statement? Ours is to be a beacon in the community by putting people first. Anybody have anything like that?
Not yet.
Okay, great. Well, we're going to work on it today. What we're really going to focus on is this core focus. That's the actual name of it. Core focus. Core focus is going to answer two questions. Why do we exist? And what do we do better than anyone else? It should not be constraining. It's not too specific. Our core focus, you just heard mine, is to be a beacon in the community. Why do we exist? You just heard it. It wasn't to sell a boatload of houses, right? And if you're on our team, you understand that production is not the primary thing for why we exist on planet Earth. And it's not the primary reason that we're all aligned as teammates. To be a beacon in the community. That is our absolute why do we exist. That's why we do what we do. Selling houses is a way that we provide that and a way that we gain that visibility in the community. But our first and biggest focus is to be a beacon in the community. What do we do better than anyone else? We put people first. See that? They sit right next to each other. Why do we exist? And what do we do better than anyone else? It's much more powerful than this is who I am. This is what I do. Why do you exist? What do you do better than anyone else? And when we're talking about a organization, right? I have to be a little bit broader. When you start setting these for yourself, you can actually get a little bit more specific. And I think you have way more valuable and impactful core focus statements for you personally than maybe what you would build out for an organization that has to share that.
I like this when you protect your client's equity like it's your own.
I love that. Why do you exist? What do you do better than anyone else? So I want you to think about that core focus, that vision statement. Who are you? Why do you exist? What's the purpose? And this goes back to solving burnout, right? Because on days when or months where we have, 6 million in pendings, and I know that we've run out of runway to put any more together, and profitability is not going to be great, and we got a lot of people working, and there's not a lot of income coming in. We have to realize that it has to be more than just like we sell a lot of houses. There has to be something bigger than just we sell a lot of houses. Because then when you're not selling a lot of houses, guess what happens? You start to think, well, what am I doing wrong? Thank you, Ann Randall. Ann Randall said I was glowing today too. Thanks, Allison, for my tretinoin. This is number 3. And this one's really, 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 really important. I tried to taper them down. I want to really spend a minute here. And I think it's just as valuable for agents that are running organizations to agents that are just solo agents or agents on teams. We have to have a sense of where we want this thing to go in 10 years. How many of you have been in real estate for 10 years? Allison, you're at 11. I'm at 10. Truby, like 30, right? I'm just kidding.
Feels like it, but 14 as a broker.
Just joking. It just feels like it, right? Yeah, I mean, Allison, it feels probably more like 5 decades. Some years have been fast, some years have been slow. How many of you have been in real estate for 5 to 10 years? How many less than five? How many less than two? I can't see everyone on here, but so like we've got a big old blend of people here, right? How the problem here is that most of the time, if we don't understand where we're planning to go, and please believe me, in 2026, I had or 2016, I had no idea I would be where I'm sitting today. But when I developed my 10-year big, hairy, audacious goal, be HAG, write that down. Be HAG, BHAG, big, hairy, audacious goal. And if you're not in rooms with people asking you about your BHAG, that's my favorite thing to ask you when I go to conferences. What's your big, hairy, audacious goal for 10 years from today? When we set ours back in 2022, we set a goal of 500 million in annual sales with as many real estate agents as it takes that align with our core values and our vision to make that number happen. We set that in 2022 to come true in 2032. When I have days that I'm like, excuse my language, fuck this. This is not worth it. I haven't seen my children. There wasn't enough money. We have drama. We have staff leaving. We have to hire. We've got to change CRMs. We've got to do this. We've got to do that. And that grind hits me every single time. I know though that it's for a much bigger purpose. So if you do not have a 10-year goal on the books, you are going to flounder every time it gets hard. And the reality of that is that we're right now in one of the hardest spots. And Allison, and those of you that have been in it long enough, you can say this, like we're in that place where we're like at the 5-year mark almost, right? We set that in 22, it's 26, like we're getting close to that like midway point. And we know the benchmarks that we have to hit. And so do you know what we had to do to our BHAG? We had to deplete it by 3 years because we need to be able to now project out even further. Because what happens if you can you imagine what it would look like to get to the 10-year and you haven't now projected further? And now you've hit the end and the dopamine's gone and now you have to start from scratch. So then you start using time as a way to manipulate this. Does anybody on this call before we got on already have a BHAG? Great.
Does anybody have anything that's like burning in their soul and maybe you didn't set your BHAG, but it's like right there at the tip of your tongue and you just want to blurt it out? Like a fire inside of you that you're like, this is my BHAG.
I mean, my goal is to have $1 million net business in the next couple of years.
How many years?
I was gonna say, set it
Two.
specific.
Great.
So by the end of 2027 or December 2028?
27.
All right. So at the end of 2027, you want to have a net income. And that's like after expenses, that's after taxes, that's after everything.
Well, he's
Yeah.
not going to pay taxes, but yeah.
Yeah. It'll be after that 38 cents in taxes I forgot about.
Okay. Got it.
That's another lesson. Here's the thing. So that's great. And what we're going to actually do is we're going to walk back and we're going to show you the 3-year benchmarks, the 1-year benchmark, and then I'm going to show you the quarterly benchmarks. What I want you to do is you have one of these shorter term benchmarks. So now I want you to really think, okay, well, if that's what I believe I can do in 2 years, what can I do when I multiply that by 5? And that's where you should get. When we set, for some perspective, when we set our $500 million goal back in 2022, we were a team the year before with 3 agents who did like 30 million. So that 500 was bananas. Like I remember putting it out there and being like, this is freaking nuts. Like this is crazy. We're never going to do it. Right. So, Allison, I agree with you. So, what I'm asking you to do here is say, what is that absolutely bananas thing that makes 10 years of sacrificing life and doing the things? What is it that makes it worth it? Because what we'll often do is we'll do it backwards. We'll say, well, here's what I was capable of this year. So, if I do that this time and then I do it another time and I multiply it by 10, I should get there. What we need to do with this BHAG is we need to go so far out. Jeff Glover describes this as his like unreal life. Like this is not like, oh, I got a bigger boat or I have another like it this is like unreal. And to me, back in 2022, as an agent who had no idea what I was doing when it came to building something, and we were doing 30 million, I had done like 55 transactions a year before by myself. 500 million was completely out of reach. I posted this morning, our team is ahead of pace right now for a $200 million year this year. Right now. I know it's February, but that's how you have to, guess what? That's how I live now because I have the 10-year goal. From there, we break it down into, well, what are the measurables for the 3-year mark? What's the measurable for the 1-year mark? And then we start defining our rocks for our quarters. And I think Allison makes a good point. I think it'd be really good to do maybe a part 2 on this and try to break it down and give you guys some time to spend in your BHAG. But I would love to spend like 5 or 6 minutes before we wrap and really give you the platform to put the BHAG out there. Because when you put the BHAG out there, and it doesn't have to be the one that you're committing to, but just to start to hear yourself say what you think you're possible of doing, like Allison says it all the time, like your cells are eavesdropping on you all the time. Like it's going to be possible, but you have to put it out there. I have stood on every stage I can in the last 3 months and shared that our team is planning to hit 200 million this year, right? Like that is a big goal for us. That's hard. Like we did 100 last year. That's a massive shift up. But I have to put it out there, right? Because that's my goal. And then when things get crappy and they get hard and we have a setback, I don't live in the setback and I don't try to pivot. I just keep saying, nope, I got to get to this point. So I'd be curious to hear anybody have some BHAGs that they think that they could develop. Be bold.
I was just going to say stupid goals, crazy. That creates movement far more than smart, measurable.
If my team doesn't sell 200 million in volume, are they going to take away everything that we made because we didn't hit the goal?
No.
Agents, you guys set goals like this all the time. I see it all the time. Well, I think this is a manageable number. I think I can do this. Fine, sure. But you also are probably capable of doing twice that. And guess what? If you don't hit that goal, but you plan for it, they're still going to give you the money.
I think another question, if we're not bold enough to talk about what our BHAG is, I think that we should acknowledge that many of us are operating out of fear, right? We're fearful to put a number out. And I've coached so many agents over the last 10 years that they'll say, well, I'm not like you, Anna. I'm not like you, Allison. I'm not like you, Truby. I don't want to put a goal that's like reaching for the moon and I land on a star, right? Like I then feel like I didn't hit it. I feel depressed. I feel like I didn't do what I was supposed to do. And I think it's just the mindset shift of like, then call it the unreal goal. It's not real, but you have to put something so audacious out there that you set yourself on fire to figure out how I'm going to go get it. And when you turn around, you realize, holy shit, I did so much more than I probably ever really was capable of. And I think that if we acknowledge that a lot of the things that we do are ego driven and out of fear, Anna's not standing on the stage saying, I'm going to do 200 million this year. And in the back of her head thinking, what are all of these people going to think when I do 187? Like, they're going to clap for her. They're going to say that was amazing. Like, I mean, it's not about the ego of, I don't want to say it out to the world because what if I don't hit it? That's not even a thought she's putting in her head. Right. But 187 million is a lot higher than, Anna, I'm going to be honest with you. That's why I was like, you shoot for the moon and you land on the
No, you guys, the stars are way far away from the moon. You got to shoot for the stars and then you might land on the moon.
I know.
I feel like that gets missed.
Me and Truby, me and Troopy were really fighting on this. I was like,
I
I
know.
don't know what the word is here,
But I do want to leave. I want to add to that because Allison said, I'm not like you. And what I want to tell you is that I was not like me either. Like, that's the whole point of this is that, like, I was, when I set this goal in 22, and there are team members on this call that can attest to it, I don't look like I looked then. I was scared to be direct. I had a hard time. I was a high people pleaser. I had a much smaller viewpoint of what was like possible as far as income goes. I was focused on very different things. I wasn't like me either when I started. And that's the point is like, you're not like me because I might be a little bit further down this mindset journey, but that's all this is. This is formalizing a plan to get your mind in the right space. And you're dang straight. If we sell 187 this year, we will be over pace for where we need to be to get where we need to be on that 10-year BHAG. So I'm going to tell everyone we're going to do 200, and I'm going to have zero regrets if we don't hit that number, because it's not worth keeping yourself small to feel like you're going to get some dopamine hit from it, because that's not actually driving you. The serotonin and oxytocin from going through this process and sharing who you want to be with others is going to get you a whole lot further.
Yeah, I would love for everyone to work on the BHAG. We will work on doing a follow-up email with some things to get you prepped and planned for our follow-up session. But I think next week is Sky's
coming next week. Invite a friend next week.
Yes.
We saw Sky in Aspen. He took
That
us
was just
through
laughing. Like
yeah, he took us through like a meditation. And I at the time I was so sick, and I was like, and I know I can go there because I love the woo woo, but I was like, no, I was like, Anna, no, like you can't do this right now. Just shut your eyes and just like pretend like you're paying attention because you can't go here right now. And like literally like within 15 seconds, I was like, ah! So like he's very good. He coaches real estate agents at a very high level. But he's also going to coach a lot on like you have to take care of you as a person, not you as the real estate agent. And that's what we're going to focus on. So I think it ties in actually really well to this, because I think when you can blend that style work while still maintaining your ambitious edge, that's where the real winners come out of this. You can't live in one camp or the other. You have to blend them together. So I would love, like, please, like, you have our number.
Invite
like,
friends, invite anybody, invite your old boss. Like, this is going to be a really incredible journey next week. I'm excited, and I think it's going to double down on the I think it's going to double down on us then going into the next conversation of the BHAG, try to hit that pretty clean and get that under our belts going into the rest of the year. And then we will announce the rest of the speakers for March. And so we're excited to see you guys. Keep us posted if there's any topics you need. And just for anybody in Beaufort, we will be doing in-person coffee social tomorrow. We'll release that information. And then we also have in-person on March 12th, right, Anna? March 12th in Raleigh.
Yeah. In Raleigh.
Yep.
In Raleigh.
And so we'll be dropping information too. So if you are in the North Carolina market or you want to drive, we will be doing a great in-person session March 12th in Raleigh. So see you in Beaufort tomorrow. See you in Raleigh, hopefully in March. And we will drop the next information, and we'll see you next week at 8:30 for Sky's presentation.
Please text me if you want to work on a BHAG. I have gotten all of my must-dos for the week done. So I have plenty of time to talk about BHAGs. Just text me.
Okay. Anna, drop your number in there so people don't have any excuse to not say.
And I gave you that's my real number. That's like my drug dealer number that goes directly to my cell phone. So
We special.
Not a lot of people have that number.
Oh, okay. Bye, guys.
Thank you. That was really great.
Oh, good.
You wait for
BHAG it
next,
up.
Anna, you wait for next week. Girl.
Guy, he is
He's very captivating.
he is very captivating.
Why did your computer just zoom in on your face when you
It did, Anna. It's all of a sudden you're in our face.
She's glowing because she's so
You want to show us your glow.
I mean, it's Allison because she bought me this. Give me this prescription.
I'm
I'm gonna need
I
the link
credit
for that,
everything to
please.
Allison.
listen, the more I grow, the more I realize I'm an extreme control freak. I'm like, Anna, here is tretinoin. Please use this. Anna, I think these earrings would look great with that. I'm such a control freak. I can't help it. I'm sorry.
But you know what, Allison, you're usually right. So there you go.
validation this morning.
I need to get you the hat that I bought that was like, I may be wrong, but I doubt it.
Hey, so how often have you worn that hat from Aspen, Anna?
It's hanging in my closet.
You know, the thing that really burnt me is they didn't even give you a hat box. You got
I
to go to
know.
you got to go to Home Goods and get a hat box
I
for that
know.
baby.
I'm gonna have to engineer some situations in which I wear it. You know, maybe next week for the astronauts. Woo! My hair might be dirty enough tomorrow. I'll just wear it in the office.
It's
There you
getting
go.
it's supposed to get hot here. It's like 70 degrees.
Oh yeah, it's like
80.
70 today. I have on my little short sleeve sweater. I'm ready.
Yeah, hat season's over.
All of my children are home. Well, my little, like my real children, my legal children, they're all at home with fevers too. Everyone's sick because I think I gave them whatever I had last week from the.
Oh, Anna.
Oh, I feel bad.
Okay. I can't do small talk. Bye, guys.
Bye. Look at that leader. Now everyone's leaving. Kat, I'll see you.
I'm trying to leave. I just can't because I'm
I
on my
know, you
phone
don't
and not my
want
computer,
to.
so I don't know what I'm doing.
I'll
I
get
tried
the
to put
recording uploaded too. Sorry, I screwed up on my live stream. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye.
I'll just hang up on you.